Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, October 27th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap last night's NBA and NHL games, look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. We have college football and NFL tonight. We'll pick those games. I'll give out my pick for the World Series. We'll go over the current leaderboard at the Bermuda Championship. We have Masked Singer and Survivor to talk about, news and notes and best bet. We'll start with the NBA. We'll go over the results from yesterday. It was a busy day and look ahead to a fourth slate of games tonight. Cavs over to Magic 103-92. Cavs 3-1. Orlando 0-5. Paolo Banchero had 29 points and Evan Mobley had 20 points. Hawks over to Pistons 118-113, so best bet comes through. Hawks are 3-1, Detroit's 1-4. Trae Young had 35 points, and Bojan Bogdanovic had 33. Knicks over to Hornets 134-131 in overtime. Knicks 3-1, Charlotte 2-2. Jalen Brunson 27 points and 13 assists, and Gordon Hayward had 21 and 9 boards for Charlotte. Raptors over to Sixers 119-109. Raptors 3-3, Sixers 1-4. Gary Trent had 27 points, and Tyrese Maxey at 31. Bucks over the Nets, 110-99. Bucks 3-0, Brooklyn 1-3. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 43 points, 14 boards, 5 assists. Kevin Durant had 33. Bulls over the Pacers, 124-109. Bulls 3-2, Pacers 1-4. Zach LaVine, 28 points, and Buddy Hield had 24. Timberwolves over the Spurs 134-122. Timberwolves 3-2. Spurs 3-2. Anthony Edwards 34 points and 9 assists. Keldon Johnson at 27 for the Spurs. Jazz over the Rockets 109-101. Jazz 4-1. Rockets 1-4. Lauri Markkanen had 24 points and 9 boards, and Kevin Porter Jr. had 24 points and 5 assists. Heat over the Trailblazers 119-98. Heat 2-3. Portland 4-1. Bam Adebayo had 18 points. Dame had 22 before he got injured in that game. And the Nuggets over the Lakers 110-99. Nuggets 3-2, Lakers 0-4. Nikola Jokic had 31 points, 13 boards, and 9 assists. He was the best player on the court. Anthony Davis, 22 points and 14 boards. All right, 4 games tonight, 7:30 NBA TV. You have the Mavs at the Nets from the Barclays Center. I believe the Mavericks are favored in this game. And they are. So the Mavs are favored by 2.5. Total is 226. I have a Brooklyn 4.5 total. 226. I'm gonna take Brooklyn getting the points. And plus 124. To me, the Mavericks are a one-man show. I know Brooklyn in the second of a back-to-back, but it's a bounce-back spot, so give me Brooklyn plus 2.5 and plus 124 to win the game outright. 8 o'clock, Clippers, Thunder. The Clippers are giving 7 total is 218. I'm not falling for the tree again for this for best bet, but I'm going to lay it with the with the Clippers again. 10 o'clock, NBA TV, Heat, Warriors. The Warriors are 7-point favorites. Total is 227.5. I like the under. I think that the Heat play good defense. I think Golden State will play good defense too, so I like the under in that game. And projections, I have Nets 4.5 total, 222 and 3/5. Clippers 12.5 total, 215 and 7/20. And Warriors 9 total, 222. And last but not least, Grizzlies Kings from Sacramento. The Grizz are a 3-point favorite. Total is 236. I have it 6.5 and 231 and 13/20. I'm gonna say under again. That is way too high of a total. I like the under. I have Grizzlies 6.5 total, 231 and 13/20. So yeah. Okay, now move on to the NHL. We'll recap the games from last night and look ahead to a busier slate tonight. Islanders over the Rangers 3-0. The number 3 started game with the goal. Josh Bailey, number 2 started game with 2 goals. Kyle Palmieri, number 1 started game with 41 saves on 41 shots. Ilya Sorokin, he was excellent in that game. Islanders go to 3-4-0. Much needed win for them. They have 6 points. Rangers drop to 3-2 with 8 points. Rangers are 500, and there's one back of first place. Metro Division's wacko. Oilers over the Blues 3-1. Edmonton goes to 4-3-0, 8 points. St. Louis drops to 3-2-0, 6 points. Number 3 started a game with 25 saves on 27 shots. Jordan Binghamton, number 2 started a game with the goal. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and the number 1 started a game with 37 saves on 38 shots. Stuart Skinner. And the Lightning over the Ducks 4-2. Tampa is 4-4-0, 8 points. And Anaheim is 1-5-1, 3 points. Anaheim's off to a terrible start this year. Number 3 started game, didn't have any points but played really well. Steven Stamkos, number 2 started game with the goal and assist. Troy Terry, and the number 1 started game with the goal, Brandon Hagel. Big slate tonight, 7 o'clock. You have the Red Wings against the Bruins from Boston. Boston has 12 points right now. That tops the East. They're minus 225. Detroit's plus 184. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 134. Bruins minus 1.5 is plus 110. I like the under. I think it's a lower scoring game than expected. Canadian Sabres. Buffalo minus 166. Montreal plus 138. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 128. Unders plus 104. Habs plus 1.5 is minus 176. Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 142. I think there's some value on Montreal, so I'm going to take the Canadians plus 138. Wild Senators. Wild minus 126. Sens plus 104. The total's locked. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 205. At Sens plus 1.5 is minus 265. Gotta go with Ottawa. They're off to a good start. I know they just sustained a big injury to Joshua Norris, but I like Ottawa here, plus 104 at home. Panthers Flyers. This is a good one. Panthers minus 205. Philly plus 168. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 130. Unders plus 106. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 114. Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 140. I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. 8 o'clock on Hulu, you have the Blues against the Predators. Preds minus 170, Blues plus 140, over under 6.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 184, Preds minus 1.5 is plus 148. For this game, I'm going to go Preds in regulation, minus 108. They need this game. 8:30, Oilers Blackhawks. Oilers minus 220, Blackhawks plus 180, over under 6.5, overs minus 112, unders minus 108. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 116, Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 142. Blackhawks off to a surprising start, Oilers on the second of a back-to-back. Give me the underdog Blackhawks at home, plus 180. Going for the upset. Capitals Stars. Stars minus 128, Caps plus 106, over under 6, over minus 110 each way. Caps plus 1.5 is minus 240, Stars minus 1.5 is plus 190. I like the under. I think it's a lower scoring game than expected. 10 o'clock, Canucks Kraken. Kraken minus 130, Canucks plus 108, over under 6.5, overs minus 110, unders minus 112. Canucks plus 1.5 is minus 245, Kraken minus 1.5 is plus 194. Tough one, but I'm going to go with the under, but I don't feel good about it. 10:30, Jets Kings from Crypto. Kings minus 152, Jets plus 126, over under 6, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 215, Kings minus 1.5 is plus 172. I like the over. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than expected. And last but not least, the Maple Leafs and the Sharks. Leafs minus 230, Sharks plus 188, over under 6.5, overs minus 102, unders minus 120. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 116, Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 142. I think the over is valuable in this game at minus 102. Okay, now move on to college football. we have interesting games tonight. And we're going to go over them. So 3 games, 7:30 ESPN, you have Virginia Tech at number 24, NC State. Should be a fun game. NC State's giving 13.5, total is 39.5. I like the under. I think it's going to be a large, or I'm sorry, the over. The over. I like the over. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than what the numbers say. I project 12 and 44 and 2 fits. Is Devin Leary back this week? Oh, he's out for the year. Whoa. That's brutal for NC State. Absolutely brutal. So I have to make a line adjustment change here. Now I project them only giving 8. But does that change where I stand on my pick? So 5.5 differential. And then the other differential is not even 5. So I apologize, guys, for making a change. I'm going to take Virginia Tech getting the points instead because of the Leary injury. I don't trust the NC State team without Leary. ESPN2, Louisiana and Southern Miss. Louisiana's giving 1.5, total is 42.5. I'm going to take Southern Miss getting the 1.5 and minus 102 on the money line. I project Southern Miss by 1.5, total 46 and 9/20. Oh, but that's going to be the secondary pick. So I'm going to take the over for this game, although I do like Southern Miss a lot. Sorry, guys, that's the second time in a row I changed the pick on the spot. And last but not least, 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, number 14, Utah, Washington State. This is a dandy. Utah's giving 7, total is 55.5. This went down a 1.5 from the other day. And my projection's 5.5 and 54 and 320. It's very close numbers. But I'm going to tell a slight lean to Wazoo as my pick here for this game. All right, now move on to the NFL. Thursday Night Football should be a lot of fun. It's an interesting game, to say the least. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hosting Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Should be a really fun game. The Buccaneers are actually favored now. They were a 1.5 dog last I checked, but now they're favored by 1.5. The total is 45.5. And I project 3 and 42 and 3/20. I love the under in this game. I think the Bucs defense is going to show up and out. And I think the Ravens defense will play better as well. So give me under 45.5 as my pick for the game, which should be a lot of fun. Okay, now move on to baseball. The World Series begins tomorrow. It's the Astros and the Phillies. It's amazing how the Phillies have gotten here. They went 3-13 at some 16-game stretch in September. People were calling the Brewers to make the playoffs instead of them. And the Phillies rode the ship into the postseason, and here they are in the World Series. The wild card round, they swept the Cardinals. Division round, they beat the Braves in 4. And in the LCS, they knocked off the Padres in 5. Now here they are facing what has probably been the best team in baseball all season long in the Houston Astros, who won the AL West, and then they swept the Mariners, swept the Yankees. So, the best player in the series, I'd say, is Bryce Harper, who is just built for moments like this. Hit the go-ahead 3-run homer in Game 5 against San Diego. And he's somebody that I think is poised to have a big moment or two in this series. In terms of areas, offense, I give the edge to the Phillies because I think they have more depth offensively than the Astros. They have Harper, they have Nicholas Castellanos, they have Rhys Hoskins, Gene Segura, Kyle Schwarber, who led the NL in home runs this season, Alec Boehm, who has potential, JT Realmuto, who's probably the best catcher in the game. And then Houston, I don't think their offense has been as good as it's been in their recent World Series trips. Obviously, they have Jose Altuve, who's been struggling in the playoffs. Yordan Alvarez, who's been their best hitter in the playoffs, and got the big hit in Game 1 of the Mariners series at the walk-off homer. Jeremy Pena was the ALCS MVP, 2 home runs in that Yankees series. Their catcher combination isn't bad of Martin Maldonado and Christian Vasquez. Jake McCormick's been a solid role player that's stepped up for them. But I still give the edge to Philadelphia offensively. Starting pitching, I give the edge to the Astros. Justin Verlander is a horse. And I know he had a bad Game 1 against the Mariners, but he bounced back with a tremendous Game 1 against the Yankees. And I think he's just incredible. And then the depth behind him is really good. Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Lance McCullers Jr., who has that nasty breaking ball, Luis Garcia, who's the long man out of the pen. And that's all due respect to the Philly staff, which I think is more top-heavy than the Astros staff. But the Astros staff, I think, has more depth to it. And obviously, the Phillies, you have Aaron Nola, who's starting Game 1, Zach Wheeler, who will probably start Game 2, and then Ranger Suarez, who will probably start Game 3. But it's a drop-off to guys like Kyle Gibson, Noah Syndergaard, and even Bailey Falter. Bullpen. I think Houston gets the edge. Bullpen. I think they have more depth in their pen than Philly. Philly has a nice big 2 of Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez, and throwing David Robertson in there as well. But Robertson struggled in Game 5 against the Padres, which led to them bringing in Ranger Suarez to close out that game. And in Houston, Alex Presley has been really, really solid for them. Rafael Montero has had some moments for them out of the pen. They have a lot of other guys that are trustworthy in their pen too. Such as Brian Abreu, even Hector Neris, although Neris gave up that homer in the Yankees series. Ryan Stanek, Hunter Brown. But they have crazy pitching depth. Managerial edge, I'd say, goes to Dusty Baker over Rob Thompson. Although Dusty's somebody I felt was like a regular season manager. But he's done a great job in the playoffs. And all of his decisions have been golden so far in this postseason. I like Rob Thompson a lot. He's a bright future ahead of him as a manager, but he doesn't have the experience that Dusty has. And then defense, Astros, come on. The Phillies have 5 DHs on their team, for crying out loud. So, the Astros automatically get the edge there for defense. And now a pick. I think it's going to be an interesting series. I think the better team is clearly the Astros. I'd love to see the Phils win. Just another fun underdog that wins the World Series. And in terms of correct score, I'm going to go Astros in 6 at plus 350. I almost went Astros in 5. But I just think the Phillies at home are just going to be a tough out. And it's going to be tough for the Astros to win 2, let alone 1 in Philadelphia. So I'm going to say the Astros in 6 games at plus 350. Okay, now we'll move on to golf. We'll go over the current leaderboard at the Bermuda Championship. And your leader right now, with a score of 6 under, is Austin Smotherman. Tied for second with 5 under, Russell Knox, Justin Lauer, Grayson Chalmers, and Sean O'Hare. Tied for 6 with 4 under, Patrick Rogers, Ryan Moore, Scott Gutschewski, and David Hearn. Tied for 10th with 3 under, D8 points, Brian Stewart, Dylan Ligmerth, Cody Grimble, Brian Gay, William McGirt, Matt Trainer, Cam Piercy, Patrick Knowles, Thomas Dietrich, Nate Hardy, Arjun Otwal. Tied for 22nd with 2 under, Charlie Hoffman, Sangmo Bay, Matthias Schwab, Grayson Higo, Michael Kim, Max McGreevy, Brandon Haas, Cam Young, Eric Cole, James Nicholas, and Aaron Jarvis. Tied for 33rd with 1 under. Pretty big group here too. Henrik Norlander, Ryan Barnes, Lucas Glover, Stefan Yeager, J.J. Henry, Sam Piercy, Kramer Hickok, Harry Higgs, Jonas Blixt, Tyler Alexander, Augusto Nunez, Dylan Wu, Tyson Alexander, by the way, that's my mistake, Eric Barnes, and Estanilo Goya. Tied for 47th at even, Doug Gim, Chris Stroud, Ryan Brem, Michael Gilgick, Luke Donald, MJ Daffey, Austin Eckroat, Trevor Cohn, Harry Hall, and Oskay Bahita. Tied for 57th with 1 over, Mark Hubbard, Chad Ramey, Nate Lashley, Kyle Westmoreland, Greg Koch, Nate Jones, and Jared Dillis. Tied for 64th with 2 over, Sam Ryder and Adam Long, and 66 with 3 over is Sung Hong K. Alrighty, now move on to The Masked Singer from last night. It was an interesting episode, to say the least. It was Muppets themed. Miss Piggy was a guest judge. Kermit the Frog and the panel performed Rainbow Connection, which was really cool. You never see Jenny sing. I've seen Nick sing before, and I've seen Ken sing before, and obviously Robin and Nicole are singers. So that was really nice to see. So first up was Robo Girl. She talks about having a stage name again. More honeybee clues. There's a photo of Lindsay Lohan, and she performed Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, which was an amazing performance. And the special clue of the week was Miss Piggy digging for truths. She said her favorite color was pink. She said she is both a singer and an actress, and she's been in 6 movies. Jenny said Zendaya and Jay Mitchell. Nicole said America Ferrara and Liz Coche. And Miss Piggy was stupid and went with herself. Miss Piggy was bad. I'm sorry. I love her, but she was really bad. Beetle talks about the American dream. There was a suitcase. Life took a traumatic turn, breaking records in their field. There was a flag. Cena's Name It's in Lights. Biggest movies of the 90s. Yelled name out of TV and heard voice on TV. And Beetle performed The Way You Look Tonight by Frank Sinatra. Miss Piggy Digs for Truth says that he's really wearing a mask. Not known for his haircut. And said that he's won Emmys. Miss Piggy said John Larroquette. Nicole said Rowan Atkinson. Ken said Mike Myers, and Jenny said Jerry Springer, which was a great guess. And then last but not least were the Lambs. These 3 individuals grew up together and grew up watching Miss Piggy. They said that they performed on stage and on screen. There were jeans that said the word famous on it. A Venice sign, a diamond ring, golf club, and they performed Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. And this is where Miss Piggy was terrible. In her Digs for Truth segment. She asked the dumbest questions like, what are your names? What's your Instagram handles? Blah, 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 blah. Who's on MySpace? I know part of her's trying to be sarcastic, but, like, come on. Fans want to know clues. And the one clue she got out of them was that they worked with Paul McCartney. Ken Jeong guessed the Kardashians, Kim, Kourtney, and Khloe. Nicole said Hein Kim. And Robin went with the Chicks. My guess right now is the band from the 90s, TLC. But I don't feel good about it. First unmasked Beetle. I thought from like a clue standpoint and the yelling the name at the TV and having all the awards, I thought for a second that this was former Packer quarterback Brett Favre. And then he said he's won Emmys and been in big movies in the 90s. I went with former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because Schwarzenegger, there was like a flag. Obviously, he was a governor. There was a suitcase. Seeing his name in lights. So that's what made me think of Arnold. Nicole went with Rowan Atkinson. Ken went Mike Myers. Jenny and Robin said Jerry Springer. Miss Piggy went with John Larroquette. And who was it? The one and only Jerry Springer. An amazing get for this show. They've guessed him for years and they finally got him. And then came Battle Royale. The song was Call Me by Blondie. Robo Girl went first and then the Lambs went second. And a stunning upset that the Lambs move on. And Robo Girl gets booted out. My final guess for Robo Girl is Ashley Simpson because of the surfboard clues. Ashley can sing and act. And the surfboard's referring to the Teen Choice Awards. Ken said Sydney Sweeney. Jenny said Shane Mitchell. Nicole went Liza Cochet. Robin went Kiki Palmer. Miss Piggy should be banned. She guessed herself. And who was it? Kat Graham. A stunning surprise for this one. Obviously, she is a triple threat. She was in 17 again. The Parent Trap. Honey 2, Addicted. All Eyes on Me, but we all know her from the Vampire Diaries. She has a couple albums. So, fun get. And obviously, Vampire Diaries was really big a decade ago. So, fun to see somebody like that on The Masked Singer. All right, and then next episode isn't until Sunday, November 6th. Because of the World Series next week, and that's the makeup episode for that Phillies game that we missed a couple weeks ago. So I thought it was going to be on Thanksgiving, but they're going to make it up Sunday, November 6th, which is the right call, right after football on Fox. Alrighty, now we'll talk about Survivor from last night. That was an interesting episode, to say the least. The 13 contestants played for a spot on the merge. At the beginning of the show, everybody met up and were hugging and whatnot, and they're trying to find out secrets from everybody and whatnot. And then came the challenge, is that they're divided into 2 teams of 6 by random draw, and team members race to clear a sled off the sandbags and debris before dragging it across the courts, collecting 6 large boxes, which they use to make a staircase and pick up a key. And then they scaled a tower up a steep ramp where 2 team members used the key to unlock a puzzle piece and puzzle pieces to solve a honeycomb-shaped word puzzle. And the first team to finish won immunity at upcoming tribal council, the merged tribe buffs, and a merged feast, while the losers would be vulnerable at the last pre-merged tribal council. Noelle drew the odd rock and chose to back the blue team of Dwight, Gabler, Carla, Janine, Jesse, and Ryan. And that team rallied from behind and won. And the ones who had to go to tribal council were Cassidy, Cody, Ellie, Sammy, I forget who, alright, so Dwight, Gabler, Carla, Janine, Jesse, and Ryan were the blue team. That's who Noelle backed. And in tribal council was Cassidy, Cody, James, Alwyn, Sammy, and Ellie. That was the red team that had to go to tribal council. But the interesting thing is that the blue team and Noel had a vote. So they were in tribal council. But obviously, the blue team and Noel were safe. And then before tribal council at the merge feast, Gabler threw Ellie under the bus for searching his bag earlier in the season. Meanwhile, people are talking about Cody as the target to eliminate. And then Ellie intended to split the votes between Cassidy and James, but told James that she wanted to work with Coco, though James did not trust her. And Gabler targeting Elle and Ellie and what he said she did really got everybody's attention. And then Janine wound up keeping her idol. And Gabler's idol expired. So that's something to keep in mind. In terms of the votes, it was 7-1-1 as Ellie got sent home. I think if Gabler didn't say that Ellie was going through his bag, then she would have been safe and somebody else would have gotten voted off. So, in terms of who voted for who, Cassidy, Cody, Dwight, Gabler, James, Ryan, and Sammy all voted out Ellie. Janine did not have a vote, as did Jesse, because in the previous episode, those two and Gio chose to risk their vote for a chance to earn an advantage, and those two lost their votes. Carla voted Owen. Noelle voted Cassidy. Owen and Ellie voted James. So it was an interesting tribal council, and now the merge: Sammy, Ryan, Owen, Noelle, Carla, Jesse, Janine, James, Gabler, Dwight, Cody, Cassidy. Fun group. Looking forward to the next episode, obviously, which is a week from yesterday, so we'll talk about it on the podcast then. All right, news and notes time. We'll start with baseball. Breaking news coming down about 15 minutes ago is that David Stearns is stepping down as president of baseball operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Replacing him will be Matt Arnold, who gets promoted, and many in the industry expect Stearns will take over baseball operations of a different club within the next year, if not sooner. I think he has an eye on a job, personally. The one that came to mind is the New York Yankees. Brian Cashman has not been officially brought back yet. I do think Brian Cashman will be back with the Yankees, ultimately. But what if Brian wants to step down? What if Brian wants to leave? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Brian walks away and says, Hal, thanks for everything. I think it's time for a change. I'll step down. And that might be the best way for both parties. For Cashman to just walk away rather than get fired. But it's going to come out, if Brian leaves, it's going to come out like they fired him. So that's a job that stands out. Maybe the Mets, and he replaces Sandy Alderson. That would be an excellent job for Stearns. So there's a lot of potential landing spots for David Stearns. But the possibility of him taking over the Yankees would be amazing. Because I think Stearns is excellent at his job. I think both New York teams need to go after him. If the Yankees, it's obviously if Cashman leaves. But if Cashman leaves, they should go after him. And I think the Mets should go after him too. There's other teams I think should go after him as well. And he's just been stuck in a small market. But he really did a great job rebuilding that roster and building up that pitching staff led by Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff. Obviously, Christian Yelich hasn't worked out really. Although the first several years it was good, but it's been bad. But there's good and bad on his resume, just like there's good and bad on everybody's resume. So that's the big news of the morning. Want to get that out of the way. Hal Steinbrenner plans to keep Aaron Boone, though, because, I don't know, as he doesn't anticipate making a manager change in the offseason. So that does sound like that Boone is back. Although, it's not really a done deal yet, in my opinion, because what if Cashman walks? The sneaky thing is that Cashman is a free agent. He might leave. And what if they hire a new GM and say, hey, I want to bring in my own people? So I don't think it's a guarantee Aaron Boone's back. But Hal really likes Aaron. And someone from the Associated Press caught him, and then he said that him and Cashman have had preliminary discussions, but that doesn't mean that Cashman's a lock to come back, as SNY's Andy Martino says. Although I'm not the biggest Andy Martino fan in the world. I think that he's been wrong about some things, but he's been very right about some things. We'll see about this one. And so it's interesting for sure. And I'm going to say this, that fan base is not pleased right now. And this is where I scratch my head about Andy Martino. He reported that the Yankee players were surprised by boos in the ALCS, is that more than one player felt it was an unusually brutal experience playing at the stadium during the LCS. Well, the reason why you were being booed is because you can't fucking hit a ball. My God. You guys deserve to be booed. They're fucking whiners, I swear. And, oh my God. But this might be a fake story. At the same time, if this is a fake story, then the rant I just went on was unnecessary. But if this is real, unbelievable. Sore freaking losers, I swear. All right, big NFL trade. The Eagles acquire Roquan Smith from the Chicago Bears for a 4th-round pick. I think that's a wonderful trade for Philadelphia. I think that puts them right there with the Chiefs and the Bills for the teams to beat. I think they needed to make a trade on the defensive side of the ball. I would have preferred in the secondary, but pass rush isn't a bad move either. So they stack up at that position. They have him. They have Fletcher Cox. So that's a really nice duo there in their pass rush. And it's just a great trade. And obviously the Bears are a bad team, so they're going to blow it up. And then Robert Quinn was crying mid-press conference because he was close with Robert Quinn. That's sad, though. Mac Jones to start on Sunday against the Jets after being benched last week for rookie Bailey Zappi. probably the right move. Zappy turned into a pumpkin on Monday night. That was a bad decision by Bill Belichick. So, we'll see if this one works out. AJ Green linked to the Packers in terms of trade deadline wide receivers. I think that'd be a good pickup for Green Bay. Obviously, AJ Green is buried on their depth chart because Hopkins is back and they picked up Robbie Anderson. So he's like behind all those guys in the depth chart. Sheila Ford Hamp frustrated by Lions 1-5 starts, but backs head coach Dan Campbell. She says that they have the right people in place to turn things around. I don't like Dan Campbell. I don't think he's a good coach. To me, he's what we perceived Robert Saleh to be before the Jets went on this nice run. And I think there's a possibility he's fired at the end of the season if they finish with a super lousy record. TJ Watt returns to practice, but remains on injury reserve, but his 21-day window to return is officially open. So that's really good news for the Steelers. I think they'll be back within probably the next 2 weeks, it would be my guess. Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams out 4 weeks due to an ankle injury. Brutal for the Chargers. All they do is succumb these injuries and try to survive them. I feel really bad for the Chargers. That's just an awful injury. There was a Bills fan that tweeted a video showing Mac Jones' interception. It could have hit the Skycam wire, which would have been really interesting if it did. Russell Wilson says he plans on the play in London against the Jaguars on Sunday. As he said, he did high knees in the aisle of the plane during the Broncos' flight to London. All right, basketball. The Lakers are likely starting Austin Reeves going forward. That's insane. Absolutely insane. This Russell Westbrook situation has gone so south. They need to trade him sooner before later, or else it could get really, really ugly. Kyrie Irving defends Ben Simmons as Irving says to give Ben a fucking chance. Amid rough first 4 games back from the 2-year absence. I might give him a couple more weeks. Ben Simmons, to me, is just lazy. He's a me guy. Can't shoot for crap. He can pass. He can rebound. He just can't shoot. And all he does is foul people. So, good on Kyrie for sticking up for his teammate, but we'll see how that plays out. Russell Westbrook could be back Friday against the Timberwolves. Forgot to mention that. Cole Anthony out indefinitely as he suffered a oblique muscle injury and is undergoing further evaluation. Things just keep on getting worse for the 0-5 Magic. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. This is an interesting set of games that we have tonight. We'll see here of where to go. Let's go to the... It's either going to be hockey or basketball for best bet. Let's see here. I really do like under 6.5 and Red Wings Bruins. I just think that's a lower scoring game than expected. I'm going to lay a whole unit on it. I love it. So I'm going to go under 6.5 between the Red Wings and the Bruins for my best bet of the day. Okay, that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow for the Monster Friday show with the picks for college and the NFL. We have golf, NASCAR, news and notes, and everything else as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.